アメリカ合衆国は皆様ご承知のように来年7月に建国200年を迎えられますことを私ども心からお祝いを申し上げたいと存じます。この度その記念行事の一環といたしましてこの盆栽を通じてアメリカの内外の人々に深くご理解をいただきご鑑賞いただくところに本当の意義があると存ずるのであります。
The 1970s is a turbulent time in United States history. Protests, political scandal, and the Vietnam War threatened to rip the country apart. But it's also a time of forgiveness. In 1976, over 30 years have passed since the United States and Japan have been at war. In a gesture of peace, and in celebration of the United States bicentennial, Japan gives the U.S. a gift of 53 of its most treasured bonsai, and in doing so, the enduring gift of friendship.
As all of you know, we're gathered in this historic house for an opportunity that comes to a people once in a century, the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the United States, which will take place in 1976.
There was a call to say, how is the United States going to celebrate the bicentennial? And so people had, within the government and agencies and departments, had the opportunity to sort of suggest ideas. And so John Creech suggested, here's a beautiful art form. Here's something to honor the bicentennial.
The gift was certainly one that maybe a lot of people would not have thought of. But Dr. Creech, when he was putting this together, wanted something that represented Japan, something that would be a horticultural gift that would be remembered and would have a longevity that the cherry blossoms have had.
He remembered that the gift of the cherry blossom trees in 1912 to the city of Washington from the city of Tokyo was something that was transformative. The blooming of the trees, the festival that came with them. I mean, it was one of the things that's really made Washington a tourist destination for now over 100 years.
The main reason he got this to happen was the fact that he was a very delightful person to be around. He's one of these people that walked in the room and he filled the room, you know, type thing. And so he was a plant explorer and he loved the Japanese.
He went to his friends in Japan who we used to collect with, his Japanese friends, and said, wouldn't it be great if you guys did this, you know, gave these trees, gave some of your bonsai and sort of show this relationship.
Bonsai is the art of miniaturizing trees. It was one of the art forms that made its way from China to Japan in the 7th or 8th century, along with things like calligraphy, Zen Buddhism, the tea ceremony. And like many of those art forms, they were refined and adopted by the Japanese and made their own, really.
In ancient age, we respected and feared all the giant trees in the forest. We wanted to watch the big trees every day, but it was impossible. We had to climb the mountain. So we brought small old trees to our house and enjoyed every day.
日本人としては自然をすごく大事にして、やはり自然を自分の生活の中に持ち込みたいというのが盆栽の始まりだと思う。
生きてるものなんですね、盆栽っていうのは。生きてるものを毎日の中で楽しむ。こんな芸術は他にはない文化だと思うんです。
約500年の時間をかけて今に届きましたが、自然、人間、美術、哲学、その全てを含んでいるもので、総合的にもっともっと日本を代表する文化として世の中に伝えなければいけないものだと思っています。
日本盆栽協会にアメリカ政府から要請があって、ぜひ日本の盆栽を送ってもらいたいという話があって、うちの親父も大変喜んでました。
John Creech would find a champion of the bicentennial gift in friend and third-generation bonsai master Saburo Kato.
I know that in the beginning there was some reluctance to do it, and the group like Mr. Kato was there and a few other people that assured them that they would be well taken care of.
With Saburo Kato's assurance that the trees would be well cared for at the National Arboretum, the Nippon Bonsai Association approved the bicentennial gift. The gift would consist of 50 of Japan's best bonsai, one for each of the American states, and would help the people of the United States learn about and better appreciate nature and the art of bonsai.
Saburo Kato was a philosopher and a poet and much more than a bonsai artist.
He believed that if everybody in the world did bonsai, there would be less war, there would be more peace, and more kinder people in the world. So he kind of made it his life's work to spread the word of bonsai.
防災やることによって分かっていくんじゃないかなと思ってます。で、私の父はね、やはり植物の持つその良さをね、いくらでも大事にする人っていうのは平和な気持ちがないとね、これ植物もね良くなっていかないんですよね。
自らは好きな場所に動くこともできない小さな植物の命を守ってあげることから、私たちも人間の生命の尊重にも通じるものがあると思います。
And he really believed that bonsai could bring peace to the world. And you say that and you say, it's ridiculous. But, it's possible. So, I believe it.
From 1939 to 1945, the world is at war. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacks the United States Navy fleet at Pearl Harbor. Over the next 3 years, the United States and its allies gain ground in the Pacific Theater, and in the spring of 1945, Japan's defeat appears imminent. On July 26, 1945, the United States calls for Japan's unconditional surrender. Japan refuses. Less than 2 weeks later, the United States drops atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
But it took only one B-29, the Enola Gay, to close that chapter in human history.
They were still recovering from the war for sure. You know, it's something that was so important, I think, to them to tell the American people, we forgive you for the bombing of Hiroshima. We're sorry for the war. I mean, it said a lot, and the Yamaki pine really represents the essence of how the Japanese felt about the gift.
まあ、あれでしょうね。父の気持ちでしょうね。中途半端なことはしたくないという性格でしたから、それとやっぱり一番いいものを差し上げたいという気持ちもあったんですね。
When you think of the Yamaki pine that has been a bonsai since 1625, they take daily care. Somebody has attended to that tree every day since 1625, monitored its health, its water, everything.
I guess it was 10 years ago, I can't remember exactly, but the two grandsons of Masaru Yamaki landed at Dulles Airport. They came out here and they asked to see their grandfather's tree. And they walked over to the Yamaki pine. And the two grandsons proceeded to tell about how it had survived the bombing of Hiroshima. And it just completely blew our minds. We knew nothing about that.
The bomb was aimed to explode above 0 point, a spot in the city at the junction of the Motoyisu and Ota rivers. What's left of the commercial museum, within 2/10 of a mile of 0 point, also gives indication of the tremendous push of the explosion. The downward force of the blast turned the roof of the commercial museum into a reservoir.
This is今の原爆記念堂のところですね。ドームですね、ドームのところ。それからこれをずっと行ったこの道のここが私のこの家です。でここで被爆しました。で焼けたのはずっと焼けてここの JR の駅の内側が焼けまして、こちら側は全部残りました。ただもう屋根瓦は飛ぶ、天井は落ちる、ガラスは飛ぶ、それで全部そのガラスの破片で顔を傷つけたという状況であったと母から聞いており、で母が私を抱いてですね、この山の中にあった避難小屋へ毛布で囲って連れて行ってくれたと。それで黒い雨に会うことがなかったということになると。小学校でですね、小学校ではその亡くなった方をね、みんな穴を掘ってそこで薪を入れて、何日も何日も焼いたわけですよね。そういうことはずっと手伝って毎日言ってたみたいで、やっぱりその状況は言葉ではなかなか言えない状況だったんだろうと思うんですよね。ですから父の頭の中にはそういう状況はなるべく消してしまいたかったんじゃないかなというように思っておりますよね。
I mean, it showed how how Yamaki had given something that had been in his family for generations, had been behind a wall when the bomb was dropped at Hiroshima, within 2 miles of the bomb blast, and survived. And had given this to us without telling us anything about that. So, and making it all the more extraordinary.
The fact that it came from the people of Japan to the people of the United States was almost a way to bypass the tension between the governments during this time. Because it was the people of Japan who fought the people of the United States during the war. It was the people of Japan who were demonstrating in the streets against the US war in Vietnam. The fact that the people of Japan were reaching out to the people of the United States represented something symbolically significant at the time, a gesture of friendship, a gesture of peace, a gesture of building the kind of ties that allow for different kind of political and economic relations and easing of tension.
アメリカの人たちですねに広めていくっていうか、そのわびさびですか、そういったものを感じ取ってもらえばね、心安らぎというものが引き出してくれるんじゃないかと思いますけどね。
Wabi is simplicity, and sabi is oldness. In bonsai, aging is very important.
これはね、やっぱり日本人が考える中でこうやはりそこに風さ、それから味わいっていうのがあるんですよね。味わいっていうか若い木なんかあんまりそういうのはないんだけど、若い木でもそれなり形なんかでも面白い木あるけど、長年持ち込むとすごくこう木のね時代がついて、そしてこの木を見てると昔のことの中に自分のイメージが入り込んでくるというところがわびさびの一つの説明じゃないかなと思うんだよね。
自分の大切なものを贈ることが一生のその記憶になります。一生の記憶にしてもらえることは自分の名誉と誇りでもあります。命の一部をアメリカの皆さんにお預けしたんでしょう。
The Nippon Bonsai Association would give 50 plants. Well, as you know, it turned out that there was 53 because the emperor came in and Princess Takamatsu and Princess Chichibu also gave a plant. So there was 3 from the imperial household.
The emperor's choice of tree was a red pine. This was a gift really from the emperor's collection and very important to him. The gift of a trident maple from Prince Takamatsu, and then the Princess Chichibu's tree, a hemlock, was a wonderful expression of her gratitude. She actually came to visit in 1976, and she saw her tree. There are photos of her beaming with it. And the other thing that happened was she visited the emperor's tree, and there was a robin in a nest with babies. And it was seen as a wonderful, positive symbol. It showed that the tree was happy enough to welcome a mother and her baby birds.
Ambassador Hodgson, and honored guests, and my many, many good Japanese friends who are members of the Nippon Bonsai Association, who are people who traveled with me many times in Japan over the last 20 years. I bring you greetings from the Secretary of Agriculture. I bring you greetings from the growing numbers of bonsai specialists in the United States. And above all, I bring you my own personal greetings and my affection to the Japanese, whom I have known and loved for so many years.
When he had the idea of asking Japan for bonsai as a bicentennial gift, he had no idea what he was getting into. He was not expecting to have a big gift. He was just expecting to receive a few, and they ended up being 53 trees. And he didn't even know how big they were until he got to Japan and saw that they were huge, and in some cases as tall as I am, which is over 5 feet. So they negotiated a deal with Pan American Airlines to ship the trees, and he had a budget of $2,000 plus some change. And it turned out it was going to require the rental of a 707 Pan Am freighter to fly them from Tokyo to San Francisco, and then 2 planes, 2 DC-8s, to fly from San Francisco to Washington. And so Dr. Creech, basically said with his credit card, okay, $19,000 for renting the plane. And he was, wasn't sure that he wasn't going to lose his job over this. Fortunately, the powers that be, were able to see that he didn't really have a choice, and it all worked out.
I can't imagine that today, calling up my superiors from Japan and saying, oh, by the way, that shipment that was going to cost several thousand is now tens of thousands, and we need to charter an entire plane to do it. He took full responsibility and he pulled it off.
In July 1976, Americans joyfully commemorate the country's 200th birthday. A week later, at the United States National Arboretum, Americans and Japanese celebrate Japan's gift of bonsai and the dedication of the national collection.
The gift that the Japanese gave us in 1976 certainly represented a coming together, the beginning of a friendship. And it was really, it was that act that it was like putting out their hand.
これが一つの成果だと。もう一つが盆栽を通して日本とアメリカという国が共有する文化を共に高めていった。これが一番じゃないでしょうか。
On August 5th, 2019, the National Bonsai and Painting Museum of the United States and the Bonsai Art Museum of Japan became sister museums at an official signing ceremony held in front of the Yamaki pine at the United States National Arboretum. This partnership reflects the enduring legacy of the bicentennial gift. In the words of Dr. John Creech, what began as a modest idea for having a small collection of bonsai at the National Arboretum has resulted in the creation of the National Bonsai and Painting Museum. With over 150 masterpiece bonsai and painting in Japanese, Chinese, and American collections. This gift has helped turn the art of bonsai from a mainly Japanese tradition into an international activity with bonsai artists throughout the world.
Bonsai connect the generation, age, and connect people, and connect nation now.